Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today's Monday, July 20th, 2020. The time is 11:05 a.m. This is our weekly Commissioner Status Update. Welcome, everyone. Attending Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. First item of business, Compton Sewer Project complete, compliance with the city, potential action item. Leslie, but I guess it's Sean that'll be addressing us, okay?
Okay, so the Compton sewer project is done. We are officially hooked up to the city. So I reached out to Larry Parsons, who is the director of the city sewer department. And I'll quote from Larry, "We do not need anything from the county. The permit for the Compton building septic to sewer is a receipt letting the city know you are hooked up, and the county will be sent a monthly sewer bill." There you have it. So there will be a sewer bill that will go, and I think those go to Lori, right? I mean, all that does. So that was all that's needed from them. I do have one change order for $500 coming next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday, because the city, again, after the plans were done, decided they wanted a third clean out. So you can't do that for free. But even with that and the additional paving that we had the change order for, we're still going to be about $2,200 under budget.
That's always
Isn't a lot of
welcome.
money, but hey, $2,200 these days goes a long ways.
Appreciate it, Sean. Okay, second item, Panhandle Health District Board Member Discussion. Leslie.
So I talk to Panhandle Health a lot, just because I got other things going on, and with the whole COVID thing, there's a lot of coordination that goes on. My concern is, though, that our representatives for Kootenai County don't have any communication with us. Bill, have you talked to Jay Nelson? Mm-hmm. Okay, so did you talk to her before this last meeting?
No.
Okay.
Quite some time ago.
Okay, so I would kind of feel more comfortable if we had regular updates from our representation on there.
Okay.
And so I don't know how that's going to look. I tried to get a hold of her last week. I got one short phone call, then we were going to touch base the
I'll call
next
her more
day.
often.
You want to
Okay.
call him? Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Done and done.
We do get minutes, don't we, from the meetings?
But my concern is,
But
if,
we're not, go ahead.
if this board wants the vote a certain way, and we're not contacted to say, hey, this is coming up for a vote, and like, there's just no communication there. So if this board, like, for instance, is against mandatory masks, but she votes for mandatory masks, then I think that's where the situation is. If they're our representative, then they probably should be knowing how we want the vote to go, and that kind of thing.
I
or
don't think we
opposite.
have any power to make her vote a particular way.
No, but it's a communication thing.
It's a communication
I
thing.
know, but right now, my understanding is, just on this one example, we're pretty split up. Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm trying to think. She does represent the board. Let's go back. We need communication with her.
Absolutely.
And maybe, and when you do that, obviously you're going to be asking, hey, how do you feel about such and such? How do you anticipate voting? What's coming up? And then we can take it from there, right? Because it's, again, to Leslie's point of communication, but you do have a point. Is she bound to have to vote? For that matter, anyone that we designate for any board other than,
Well, then I
say
think
one
they
of
get undesignated then.
and they get, yeah. Everybody serves, and I hope I'm not overstepping when I say this, at the pleasure of the board, irrespective of the term of office. Unless it's specifically called out by statute, and even then, okay,
Yeah, we can make a case probably.
precisely.
So that's just my biggest concern, is not hearing what's coming up and not knowing, where the direction is. So,
Okay, so increased communication. Fair enough, Bill?
Absolutely.
Okay. Got it. All right. Capital Crimes Defense Fund nomination. Go ahead, Leslie.
So the at-large position is up for the Capital Crimes Defense Fund Board, and I'm interested in serving on that board, so I'd like to kind of ask for your nomination. Also, District 1, the representative for District 1 is Mike Fitzgerald.
Yes.
And he said that he is willing to give up his seat for me to serve.
Oh.
And so if the at-large position doesn't work out, then he offered his District 1 seat as well.
Okay. So what do we need to do? Anything at this point?
Just tell me to bring it forward on next week's business meeting, if that's all right.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm fine. Bring it forward.
All right.
That was easy. Okay.
Now we're already to our big list.
All right. Now, our favorite topic. All right, now, Romer House.
Hamilton House, Hamilton House.
I think we're gonna make your middle name Romer.
Sean
Romer Riley.
It's not.
SRR.
It's not, R does not stand for Romer. Okay, so,
If you keep hassling them the way you do, they're gonna start drinking.
yeah, I know, right?
The way they're behaving, I think they're drinking.
I think so too.
Okay.
Come on,
Okay,
guys.
all right, so, the last email that I saw, unless you saw something different, was sent from Deborah Mitchell, who basically is chiming in with Julianne in that they feel that it's no different if they bring in potential donors than if I was to walk through the building with a contractor, an appraiser, or a home inspector.
Okay.
Okay? And in that same email, Julianne says, I was thinking last night that it seems questionable that we would have to pay for insurance for a few people to enter the house on the 27th from 11 to 1 when you already have insurance. Okay, but that's not the taxpayer's liability. Okay, that's the whole point of Pat asking them to provide insurance was to relieve the taxpayers of Kootenai County of the liability in case someone gets hurt. Then in the email that came, another one that went just to you three and myself, Julianne says, we were able to make arrangements with the county to have the house open from 11:30 to 1 on the 27th at 627 Government Way. So basically, our last discussion was that we were going to cap the number of people at 12. And I sent her an email accordingly. So now she's asking for an open house. Come and go as you please. I will be there from 11:30 to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
If you want it to be an open house, that's fine. I can email her back and tell her that the three of you are fine with an open house, even though we had said originally that we were going to cap it at 12. They need, in my opinion, they need to provide proof of insurance for both events. Because if it's an open house, if it's 12 people and it's a tour of the house, I could almost say, well, yeah, I could probably control this a little bit. But if it's an open house and people are coming and going, and I'm upstairs because someone had a question about the bathroom upstairs, and somebody sneaks down into the basement and gets hurt, or somebody falls on those non-compliant stairs, we're liable. And I can't control that. I mean, if it's an open house, it's an open house. We know it's an open house, okay, 11:30 to 1. At 1 o'clock, everybody out, we're locking the doors. But I think somehow there was a conversation that on the 27th, they wouldn't need insurance. I think they need insurance, and to me, I think it's getting to the point where every time this board gives them an inch, they try to take a mile. Now it's your house, so it's your responsibility to provide the insurance. That's not the case. Everybody else that we've ever let use the grounds, and if you remember the last time we went through this was the Hitchin Post was going to use the grounds. There was an MOU that was going to be in place, and they were going to have liability insurance. So it's up to you. Whatever you want to do with this, I'm fine with it.
Okay, question. Refresh my memory. We had an opinion last week from Pat Braden. And I don't know specifically which event he was referring to, but he thought we were fine with our coverage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but I think it's not clear to Pat exactly what they're asking to do. So I will work on that today. I will get it cleared up, exactly what they want, and I will retouch base with
Okay,
Pat,
okay.
And we'll go from there. Because I am not concerned if it is just 12 people, they're just gonna take a real quick tour, Sean's in charge, they don't go off on their own. But an open house, there's no way to control that.
No, and she's got a thing here where she needs people to RSVP back to her. Okay, well, when you get to 12, you're done.
Right.
Unless we decide it's an open house.
Right,
Well,
so
this-
it needs to be cleared
It
up.
occurs to me that if you use the fairgrounds, go to the fair, have a booth there, little booth, sitting at the table, you will provide a copy of your insurance policy.
Right.
If you don't, you will not be there.
Right.
And there are really good, sound legal reasons. So yes, you can allow the fair to any occurrence happen. Now, that's something I know about. I was an insurance adjuster here in Idaho for about 7 years. You can say, yeah, if something happens, fair's insurance is gonna cover it. But I don't think that's a good idea to risk. I mean, you slip, fall down, crack an ankle, fall through the front deck. My wife did that. And, I mean, it gets to be very dangerous and potentially very expensive for the county.
Right. And I
When-
crimp with.
When did we get to the limit of 12?
We got to the limit of 12 based off of her original request to bring in potential donors. And I had said, I'm fine with that. Let's limit it at 12 people so that I can control the group. And that email went to her specifically saying, we had discussed it in the status update meeting, and it was decided to cap it at 12. To me,
I agree with you as far as the camel's nose is in the tent. You give them an inch, they want a mile. And this has happened on numerous occasions, and I've been the one that put it forward about giving them extension after extension. But they don't have the money. They're gonna have to buy that house by the end of September or make arrangements to show that they can.
But their argument also would be, and if I were on their side, I'd say, but you're making it so restrictive for me.
No.
An open house is an open house. Hold on. An open house means for that period of time, people come and go. Now, I get your argument, Sean. I understand that. You're saying, well, how do I control it and manage it? But how much do we need to manage this thing? I mean, we're open for 2 hours. Could there be an accident? Well, yeah, but we could have an accident in the normal course of conducting business at any county facility.
Have you seen me walk downstairs in heels?
There you go.
no, I understand, and I'm not. I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, but I agree with what Bill's saying also. Normally, you are in real estate. Normally, in order to buy a house, these type of liberties would never be given by an owner. I mean, you would never say, okay, well, I understand you don't have the money, so go ahead and hold concerts on my lawn to see if you can raise it. I wouldn't do that.
Or
But we do
pull out the
have
bush?
open
I mean, I would have an open house.
Right.
Right, I would have an open house.
Right.
So my point is, I think that this board in general, has gone above and beyond what most people would do to try to help them out. I think sometimes they don't see it that way, and maybe they need to be brought in and told that. I don't have a problem with the open house, and if legal, the board can waive whatever insurance they want to. I've seen the board waive bonds on construction projects. I've asked you to do it before. But if you're gonna have a bunch of people on the grounds for a music event like that,
So the music event, yes,
Yeah,
that's
that's
definitely
different.
insurance,
Yes.
and we're requiring that.
Yes.
So I will get with Julianne and figure out how, and Sean, actually, if you have time, we can just go up and call her.
Okay, cool.
After
Sure.
the
Okay,
meeting.
good.
And we'll get that figured out. And if it's
Grant wanted to.
more than just a contractor thing, if it's more than just, okay, there's 3 people here, Sean's gonna run them through the house, that kind of thing, then I think that maybe insurance would be beneficial.
Okay, so you guys work it out.
We'll work it out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll let everybody know, and we'll touch base with Pat too,
okay.
so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Grant, you,
one thing before Grant
yeah, go
speaks.
ahead.
I look at this thing, would I put my family's, what small amount of money we have at risk for something like this? And I would not. I would want insurance. And I feel the same way about the money of the exposure of the people of the county. And insurance policies, like I used the example of the fair, are not that expensive. They are simply not that expensive.
Not for a specific amount of time.
That's
they're
right.
not.
They
And I
go
think-
boom, boom, and they send you, they fax you an endorsement, and you're done.
What was the figure that Julianne?
I think
was
she
it like
said a couple
2,000?
$100 an event. No, I said if they're gonna have that type of insurance for a year so that they can just come and
That's
go
one
as
thing,
they please, it's gonna cost them a couple grand. I think the other thing before Grant is, the county has spent a lot of taxpayers' dollars on trying to help these people out. And I don't think they understand that. I mean, right now, there's salaries in the room talking about it. Pat keeps weighing in and out on it. The clerk has to prepare the minutes, the auditors. So, at some point in time, it seems to me like there's not a lot of gratitude here on the other side of the coin,
We're understanding.
or understanding of what we do, because this is not a normal thing like if it was a private home. The statutes guide what you can and can't do. And that's, if legal weighs in on something and says they want insurance, unless you decide to waive it, I just go with what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
say.
no, yeah.
Okay.
You're fine. Okay, so you guys will work. Grant, did you want? Yeah, come on.
If the people who are coming to see it just sign a waiver, so that
So, I'm sorry, sign a waiver?
Sign a waiver?
waiver on their way in, so that you're not liable, and then they can choose to use personal or whatever they want, but
Well, that's a good point.
We can talk to Pat.
Yeah, Leslie will mention it to Pat. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Enter at your own risk.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks. Okay. Next item, okay, Citizen Advisory Committee. Bill,
End of August.
yeah, you wanted to wait till
Said
the end.
when, it's gonna take me a while now that we're done with BOE and budget.
Okay. Are you planning to prepare something for it?
I am, I'm just not doing it right now.
Okay, all right. Fire station at the fairgrounds, Dave Ferguson has not received anything from KC Fire and Rescue, so since it's our land they want to use, or the fairgrounds, until and unless they take the initiative, I'm not gonna worry about it. So far, my understanding is Dave Ferguson has not received anything, so no change. U of I Extension, new home, Leslie?
I don't know where we're at with this. I think that there was 3 potentials. Charlotte, did you have anything to add today?
So I have done some looking. I haven't, to be able to find a rental facility that is adequate to house all of the staff, storage, everything that we would be displaced from, is not looking like a cheap investment. It's probably double to triple what you guys are currently in kind to us. So I wanted to I visited with Chris briefly last week. I want to sit down with Sean and
Okay.
visit some more and see what else we might be able to come up with for a way to house us in the interim until there is a facility at the fairgrounds, and to work with what elections and county assistance's needs are going to be, so we can all live happily in the sandbox until such point that we have a new home.
Okay.
Do we, what Charlotte and I discussed last week, Sean, is there any space at any of our facilities that'll function in the interim?
No. None. The only space is what they have now, and that needs to be grabbed up according to what I've been told by the clerk. There's just nothing. I mean, the only other option, and I know it's not really what the fair wants to hear, but temporarily give them one of those buildings. That's the only place you have space, and it's your space, don't let anybody tell you different, is the fairgrounds. That's it. There's no place else.
How would that interfere with their scheduled events? Or we don't know?
Well, I asked Charlotte to get with Lexi and
Okay, fine.
meld their schedules and to see where the conflicts exist, because I would think that there are some that there aren't conflicts with.
Any
ahead.
building on the fairgrounds that would have a restroom attached to it, heat for the winter, are pieces that are high rental.
Right.
And so anything that we would use and would cross over through fair, because during what would normally, I know it's not an issue this year, but in visiting with Sean, we're at least a year and a half, if not longer, to a new building. So that would put us in a building that would traditionally be used for fair, and there, we would be disrupting all of that potential rental that the fairgrounds relies on to fill in, because to be able to pay their staff and stuff, if we're using that space, then how are they going to be compensated for that loss of revenue?
There's about 70,000 one-time, not ongoing, that would be able to make up for some of that, so.
Right, you could you could give some to the fairgrounds for lost revenue. I mean, right now, they can't have these big meetings anyway. There's not gonna be a fair.
That was my.
So you've bought yourself
A year.
a year, or at least 8 months, and then 4 months out from fair time, then we really start getting serious about trying to find them a place. But right now, they're not able to have any big gatherings anyway, other than having the EOC out there. So there just isn't really anything out there other than the space you have at the fairgrounds.
So Charlotte, will you get with Lexi?
I can visit with her. We're on regular communication though, so it's when I was, and then, the move for us, what we're gonna do, because there's no building out there with offices, so we'll have to create office space currently we need 6 offices plus additional 3 spaces for volunteers and grant-funded staff that works with us. We'll need a kitchen, because we have a team that is in the kitchen every day, so there's some of that will be a little tricky to, it's one of those, and I'm gonna, just knowing the grounds as well as I do, I've missed one fair in my lifetime, I'm fairly familiar with those grounds. I'm gonna guess, is EOC in building 3? Do we know if that's the building?
Are they still in there? Yeah.
That would be the only building, short of using one, which is
Right.
excessively large for what we need.
Well, I think and I'd be more than happy to come out and meet with the two of you.
Yeah.
It's like one of those where I can't do it, I can't make it work. Let's find a reason how we
Exactly.
can make it work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know if we could find a place for you, whether it's ideal or not, for temporarily, to call home, then we can find another place. The kitchen may have to bounce around, or the Jacqueline's not being used this weekend, so you guys can do the big master garden. You know what I'm saying? So it's a shuffle, but it's kind of like normal life down here. I mean, things get shuffled
Well,
around.
that's exactly,
Well,
so,
and we're used to shuffling meetings around. What I'm concerned about is our personnel, because we have about 20 people in our office.
Yeah, but they're not all there all the time. And so that's why I'm saying, if we're gonna, how can I say this? It's a difficult time for everybody, so we have to think outside the box.
Yes.
yeah,
And
everybody's having to
Shared
scramble. Yeah,
workspace, maybe we can get some cubicles, because I know we have some extra ones unless we got rid of them. So maybe you and I and Lexi
Yeah.
can get together, Alan can be there, and it may be that, the shell moves around a little bit once in a while. I mean, that's just,
Not perfect.
it's never.
Okay, so the two of you get with
Okay.
Yeah, and
Alexia,
then we'll have something
And
for
then-
you next
right,
week,
and
at
then-
least a progress report.
Okay,
and you probably want
thank you.
Yeah, I want to be there.
to, participate. Oh,
And
go ahead.
Grant had something else.
Grant, go ahead.
Dean.
Building 3 is vacant now. We broke the ESC down about a month ago.
No.
It's completely vacant, but it is lit up with county network still. I did not take the wireless shut off there in case we had.
Here you go.
And-
There's
yeah.
So,
And-
just so I'm clear.
And there's some money to compensate them, but go ahead.
That's what I wanted to know. Just so I'm clear, there's $70,000 that could be sitting on the table if Alexia needs, but I would like to see where it was booked out and gonna happen before we just wrote the checks.
Well, and my concern is, I would like the 70,000 to go towards, hard costs, not soft costs. I
Right.
want it to go towards a building,
Yes.
towards a permanent solution, I
right.
guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I think that's the best bang for the buck. Just throwing it away on rent, that's not gonna help us down the
Okay.
road. So-
That's why I asked the question. I just
Yeah.
want to be clear in my mind so I don't commit to something. Well, I won't commit without asking you anyway, but At least that way I have an understanding. Do you want to be present if we can work it into your schedule?
It will work into my schedule.
Okay.
And yes, I will be present.
Will you get with Lexi and then send me an email,
Okay.
copy Bill on it?
Okay.
And then we'll see what the
And let's
schedule
go from
looks
there.
like, and we'll
How's
go
that?
from there.
Okay.
Hopefully, we can have something Monday.
Thanks, Grant, appreciate it.
And Dina has,
Small addition to that.
Yeah,
They do
please.
run a county phone system right now, so if we move them anywhere without county network, phone system would have to be changed over. And that's, can be somewhat costly. Somewhere like Building 3, we already have a county network presence, would alleviate that.
That
It's a simple.
sounds good.
Technology. I mean, I know there's a lot of parts to the puzzle, but it's something like that.
And that's a big build, that's a pretty good sized building. Yeah,
That's huge, isn't it?
yeah, it's the one where they do the quilts and all the sewing stuff.
sure.
Actually, it's the one that 4-H has had for the last 2 years for our still active.
Isn't that about 10,000 square feet, I believe?
Yeah, it's probably close to that.
Okay, thank you.
Dina, did you have something to add?
Yeah, go ahead.
COVID team meets tomorrow. We were looking at those movable office cubicles, those modular office cubicles. We can talk about and see if this is something where maybe we could.
Isn't that what Ann's been doing as well? Hasn't Ann been doing that?
Yeah, but
At her-
those- We
okay.
may be able to, at least, if we can't use COVID dollars for it, we can at least talk about those modular systems because they are movable. So if you're moving around, you're temporarily setting up in one place. If you find another space that's more permanent, you can just move that office
There you
furniture
go.
with you and configure in the space that you have and just kind of make the best of it. So we can look into that and we'll let Sean know.
Yeah, because this is COVID related. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole point of
Yes,
And that would help.
him
kind of
needing that extra
ease
space.
yes.
That's a good idea, Dina. Let me know.
I don't know, well, we can ask about the building too. We can ask about, funding the building. I know that, capital construction, I don't think that the treasury department is.
You know, the other thing the other thing that's interesting in this is that if they come out with this next stimulus, is that the right word anymore? Presumably, that would also remove the restrictions on the property tax relief. That's my understanding. That's what maybe is right, yeah, but, and who knows what else might be available, but remember, there's an election in November, so who knows? Anyway, okay. Thank you, appreciate it. Body scan.
That's August.
That's August. I don't know, I didn't mean to laugh, but my gosh, this has been ongoing for 3 years. Anyway, okay. So we're taking this up next month, is that correct? Yep, okay, so here we go, no change. Ongoing facilities expansion, anything new there?
Nothing, just waiting on Dave. I have a call in for him about a different topic, so I'm gonna ask him it's been about 2 weeks, so I'm gonna ask him if he's had time to look at it. I'd like to get it out.
And this is the RFQ now?
Yes.
And this is for design, architectural?
Architect.
Right. Got it.
All right, same for PAC lease is August, and then, State of the County is our last.
State of the county. Okay, so that is August 25th. Is that a Tuesday?
Yes,
Is that breakfast?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Any further thoughts?
No, just make sure that it's all right here. So you're gonna talk about COVID, the budget, property tax, and then your liaisons, and then Bill's gonna talk about his liaisons, and I didn't list them all there, and I'm just gonna talk about facilities and my liaisons. So,
Okay, so you've got facilities.
yeah, it's all written down there. It's
Oh.
all typed in.
Oh, there we got it. Okay, cool, right in front of my face. Okay. You okay?
Yeah, I just, as I said last time, I think this is the one opportunity that each elected commissioner has to talk about his or her vision for the county. And I'm not going to be shy about that, and it may not fit exactly into the liaisons.
Well, you don't have to be shy about it.
I'm not shy about anything.
That's for sure. Okay. Anything else? Nothing for the good of the order, as they say. Okay. Public comment.
Oh,
Grant.
wants to speak.
Oh, my goodness,
And
Tina.
Tina.
Tina, come on, you go first. Oh, okay.
Commissioners, apologies, I don't know if I spoke up during
part two of business with the Panhandle Health District.
No,
Commissioner
public
Felios.
comment is perfectly fine on anything to do with the agenda. Go right ahead.
I spoke to you Friday afternoon as you were leaving. I apologize for
Yes.
that. But basically, I wanted to just talk to the board about, now that we're getting active cases in the county, we found out through the grapevine about the elections cases the other day because they were calling asking for some remote assistance to get some people working remotely, which is understandable. My concern with that is you, specifically the board, has several departments, IT, reprographics, and
Buildings and
buildings and
grounds.
grounds, people who are coming and going from these facilities on a regular basis, almost daily. And it struck me as probably prudent, if there's any way we can do this, when we know that we have an active confirmed case anywhere in the county, I feel every employee should be made aware immediately. Because we can't prevent it, you know, it's going to happen. But my concern is that I had a chief deputy on the phone wanting technical assistance with something, and I'm kind of ignoring them, telling them it's more important for me right now that I know this, that you let me know exactly when these cases were so that I can speak with my staff, make sure they're aware, and take precautions in their own lives, whatever they choose to do. And I just think that if we're not being made aware as immediately, I mean, not violating HIPAA in any way, but let us know if you're in this department, in this environment, here's the date the person was tested positive, you know, do what you feel you need to do. I think that'd be very prudent as a county-wide type, I don't know, policy at this point. So I just wanted to throw that out there that, especially for us departments that are coming and going and in, you know, physical contact with these people's keyboards, mice, mail, whatever it might be, facilities, that if we could come up with a way to notify people.
And Grant brought this up to me Friday afternoon. Nancy Jones was there, and we said, okay, you know, we needed to probably issue some sort of communication, which I believe is going to happen this week, along with some other issues that need to be taken up, COVID-related, of course. So I think your point is well taken.
Okay, thank you.
In acting in the best interest of the safety, health and safety of our employees. I appreciate it, Grant. Thank you. Yes, Tina?
I agree with Grant totally, but my comment was regarding possible open house for the Romer building.
Yes, go ahead.
I would personally, if it were my responsibility, feel very uncomfortable about doing an open house rather than supervised tours, because if it's an open house, people could very well bring children, people with asthma or breathing problems would not be excluded. And with the toxic black mold situation, I think that would create an accelerated liability risk for the county. That's just my 2 cents. I think the supervised tour by Mr. Riley would be much smarter.
And you know, that's a good point, and we could make it to where, and we'll talk to Julianne about it, but just a thought I just had right now, we could say from 11:30 to 1 o'clock, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have groups of 10. It should take 15, 20 minutes, because we're not going down in the basement.
Right.
That's true. She can schedule the
And
groups.
then the next group is out, and the rest of them can sit out on the lawn. I don't want them on the porch.
That's a good point.
They can sit out on the lawn and wait. I'm adamant, I think you need to have them require insurance.
Just for that period.
The liability, the thing that Grant said about having them sign a waiver, I think is a really good idea too.
I think you just get a blanket.
And you can
insurance
take that up
policy,
with
and then
Pat
you're done
anyway.
with it, because they're wanting to do this quickly, and it's hard. We've already spent a lot of time in legal just trying to.
So they want, did you say July 27th?
Yes. July 27th,
That's next week.
yes.
That's next
We don't
Monday.
really have a lot of time to put together an individual release of liability.
Right.
Pat has a bullet point one, and I've had this conversation with legal, and those things can always be contested in court. So if they have their own insurance, somebody got, you know, unfortunately something happened, the county and IGRIP are not responsible. They are.
Understood. Okay, so Leslie's going to take that up anyway, so, okay. Anything else? 11:39, meeting adjourned. Thank you.